The enemy armada had regrouped. Though their supply hubs were disrupted and their power systems damaged, their determination had not faltered. Massive warships now loomed in the distance, forming a menacing line that stretched across the orbital belts of a strategic star system. Their war machine, designed to annihilate entire colonies, was nearly complete. Captain Arya Chen stood on the bridge of Horizon 2, her eyes scanning the formation of enemy ships. The silence of space was deceptive. Danger radiated from every point of light. Yet she felt no fear, only determination. Humanity had learned, adapted, and grown stronger since the first attack on Valoran Prime. They were ready to finish what they had begun. "Captain," Lieutenant Kieran said, analyzing incoming data, "the enemy's main weapon is now active. If it fires, entire systems could be destroyed. We have to act fast." Arya's jaw tightened. "Then we take the fight to them. Prepare the fleet. Today we strike not just for survival, but for justice, for the Valoran, for Earth, and for every innocent life they have threatened." The fleet moved into position with precision. Human and Valoran ships formed tight formations combining speed, agility, and firepower. Engineers had installed new adaptive shields, and AI-guided drones enhanced targeting and coordination. Every crew member knew that this battle would test every skill they had learned. The enemy fleet reacted instantly. Massive energy cannons lit up the darkness, firing volleys designed to break through shields and scatter ships. Automated drones swarmed with precision, targeting weaker vessels. Yet humanity's fleet was ready. Pilots executed evasive maneuvers that combined speed and unpredictability. Drones created holographic decoys to confuse the enemy, while adaptive shields absorbed and redirected energy blasts. "Focus on the flanks," Arya commanded. "We need to break their formation and reach the core before they can fire the war machine." Lieutenant Soren led a squadron of strike ships, darting between larger enemy vessels, firing energy disruptors to disable turrets and shields. Each move was precise, a blend of strategy and courage. Human ingenuity shone as the squadron used asteroid cover and unexpected angles of attack, turning disadvantage into opportunity. Meanwhile, the diversionary fleet engaged the main body of the enemy armada. Bright flashes of energy lit the void as ships clashed, creating chaos and confusion. The enemy concentrated on the diversion, unaware that the strike team was advancing toward the heart of their formation. Inside the enemy war machine, engineers and tacticians worked to maintain control. They activated shields, redirected power, and launched counterattacks. Yet every action was anticipated by the humans who had studied their tactics extensively. Adaptive drones intercepted enemy communications, while AI systems predicted energy flows and weak points. Captain Arya led the final assault. "Now!" she shouted. Strike teams fired disruptors at the core of the war machine, causing massive energy surges. Shields collapsed, engines faltered, and control systems began to fail. The enemy's greatest weapon, designed to destroy entire worlds, was rendered useless, at least for the moment. But the battle was far from over. Enemy ships, sensing the threat, launched desperate counterattacks. Massive vessels targeted Horizon 2, attempting to destroy the command center and break the human fleet's coordination. Energy beams streaked across space, colliding with shields and creating bursts of fire and debris. "Divert power to forward shields," Arya commanded. "Prepare countermeasures." Pilots responded with skill and courage. They maneuvered through energy storms, using asteroid cover and rapid acceleration to dodge destructive beams. Engineers monitored shields, adjusting energy flow in real time to absorb impacts. Every officer and crew member acted in perfect coordination, a demonstration of human determination and ingenuity. Lieutenant Kieran's voice broke through the chaos. "Captain!" Sensors detect a weak point in the enemy flagship. It controls the main war machine. If we disable it, the rest of their fleet will lose coordination. Arya's eyes narrowed. "Then that is our target. Soren, lead the strike squadron. Everyone else provides cover. We cannot fail." Soren's squadron moved with lightning speed. They weaved through enemy fire, using tactics that combined speed, deception, and bravery. Energy disruptors targeted the flagship's core systems, overloading circuits and disabling engines. Sparks and energy flares erupted across its hull, signaling the collapse of its control network. The effect was immediate. The enemy war machine faltered, its massive weapon offline. Ships that had relied on its guidance now drifted without coordination. The chaos gave humanity the upper hand, and the fleet pressed forward with renewed momentum. Back on Horizon 2, Arya surveyed the battlefield. Hold formation and finish the attack. Protect the innocent. Strike for justice. The fleet unleashed a coordinated assault. Energy cannons, missiles, and drone swarms struck in perfect harmony, targeting the remaining enemy vessels. Ships that once seemed invincible were now disabled or forced to retreat. The Human-Valoran alliance demonstrated not brute force but intelligence, courage, and adaptability. As the last enemy ships fell, silence returned to the void of space. The Armada was defeated. The war machine was destroyed. Humanity had prevailed, not through sheer numbers or raw power, but through creativity, coordination, and unshakable resolve. Captain Arya allowed herself a brief moment of relief. She thought of the Valoran colonies, of the lives lost, and of the courage displayed by every member of the fleet. "We have done it," she whispered. "Justice has been served." Lieutenant Kieran joined her at the observation deck. "Captain, the enemy is retreating. The threat is neutralized, at least for now." "Humanity has proven itself," Arya nodded. "Yes, but we cannot forget the lessons learned. There will always be dangers in the galaxy, but now humanity has a place among the stars. We are strong, united, and unstoppable when we fight for justice." The surviving Valoran fleet gathered alongside the human ships. High Counselor Lyran appeared via holocommunication, his voice filled with gratitude. "Captain Chen, humanity has honored our fallen. You have shown the courage and brilliance of your species. The galaxy will remember this day. Together we are stronger than any enemy." Arya responded with calm determination. "Counselor, the fight was for justice, not revenge. The galaxy must know that life is sacred, and those who harm the innocent will face the consequences. Humanity will stand with you and all who seek peace." Back on Earth, citizens celebrated the news of the victory. Schools held lessons on the bravery of the fleet. Engineers, pilots, and civilians were honored for their contributions. Humanity had proven itself as a force capable of protecting the galaxy, not through domination, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. Children looked to the stars with hope and inspiration. Artists painted murals of the fleet's courage. Musicians composed songs about the alliance of Earth and Valoran. Humanity had become not just a survivor, but a guardian of the galaxy. Captain Arya Chen walked among her crew one last time before the fleet returned to Earth's orbit. "You have all shown what it means to be human," she said. "Bravery, intelligence, creativity, and determination. We have honored those we lost and protected countless others. Never forget, when humans fight for justice, nothing can stop them." The crew nodded, pride shining in their eyes. They had faced impossible odds, adapted, and emerged victorious. Humanity's story in the stars was just beginning. But one thing was clear: Earth's resolve was unstoppable, and their courage had set a new standard in the galaxy. As the fleet returned home, the stars no longer seemed distant or indifferent. They shone as a reminder of humanity's strength and determination. The galaxy had witnessed what humans could achieve when united, inspired by justice and honor. Humanity had risen, stronger than ever, proving that even in the face of unimaginable danger, courage and ingenuity would prevail. Captain Arya Chen looked out at the stars one final time. The memory of the Valoran colonies burned in her heart, a reminder of why the fight had begun. She whispered, "We will protect the innocent. We will fight for justice. And we will rise, unstoppable, united, and determined." And with that, humanity had not only avenged their allies, they had claimed their place among the stars, a shining example of courage, ingenuity, and unbreakable resolve. The galaxy would remember Earth's name, and the story of their unstoppable spirit would echo across the stars for generations to come. The galaxy was dying. Star systems that once glimmered with life now floated in silence, their planets scarred and broken. Ancient wars had spread across the stars for centuries, leaving behind fleets burned to ashes and civilizations on the brink of extinction. Every species, once proud and strong, now struggled to survive against a threat that seemed unstoppable: the Void Legion. The Void Legion was a force unlike any other. Its ships were dark and enormous, powered by strange energy that shimmered like liquid shadows. They moved silently, striking suddenly and leaving devastation in their wake. Entire worlds had fallen to their relentless assault. Cities were razed, populations scattered or enslaved, and hope became a rare treasure. In the heart of this chaos, the leaders of the alien coalition gathered in the war-torn council chambers of the planet Iridian. The room smelled of smoke and metal. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing reports from across the galaxy. Fleets destroyed, planets under siege, civilians fleeing in panic. "Another fleet has fallen," said Supreme Commander Vorek of the Krelian species, his deep voice echoing in the chamber. "If this continues, we will have nothing left. Our best ships are gone and our soldiers are exhausted. How can we stand against them?" Admiral Thalira of the Zanari, a species known for their sharp intelligence and calm demeanor, studied the display. Her eyes, pale and reflective, showed worry. "We cannot continue like this. The Void Legion adapts to everything we try. Our strategies fail before they even begin. We need something different, something unexpected." The chamber fell silent. For centuries, the coalition had fought together, but now even their combined might seemed powerless. Outside, the skies glowed with the distant fires of battles raging across the system. Every alien present felt it. Hope was fading. Far beyond the conflict, in a corner of the galaxy untouched by war, humans observed the growing crisis. In the solar system, the planet Earth thrived with life. Its people had grown technologically advanced, spreading their influence through the stars but avoiding entanglement in the endless galactic wars. That was about to change. In the Human Space Command on Earth's orbiting station, a team of scientists, strategists, and military leaders gathered around a central display. The holographic map of the galaxy flickered with red markers, each indicating a planet lost or under siege. "This is unlike anything we've ever seen," said Dr. Alana Reyes, chief strategist. Her fingers hovered over the controls, tracing the movements of the Void Legion. "Every species we've monitored is losing ground. If no one intervenes, the galaxy could collapse entirely within a decade." General Marcus Steele, the commander of the Human Expeditionary Fleet, clenched his fists. His eyes were sharp focused. "We cannot let that happen. We have the technology. We have the knowledge. Humanity has faced impossible odds before. We can't just watch while the galaxy dies." "But the risks," one of the younger officers began, hesitation in their voice. "Risks," Marcus interrupted. "Every life in this galaxy is at risk. Every species we've encountered, every civilization struggling to survive. Do you think they will thank us if we stay on the sidelines? No, they need action. They need hope. And that's what we are going to give them." The room was filled with a tense energy. Humans had never faced a threat of this scale before. Yet in their determination, there was courage. Where others might see despair, they saw possibility. Where others might flee, humans prepared to fight. Preparations began immediately. Shipyards on Earth and nearby colonies accelerated the construction of new starships. Warships equipped with cutting-edge technology. Scientists worked day and night to develop advanced weapons, shields, and communication systems. Engineers tested engines that could travel faster than ever before, allowing humans to reach the battlefronts in record time. Meanwhile, humans themselves trained relentlessly. Pilots practiced maneuvers that no alien fleet had ever attempted. Soldiers learned strategies that combined strength, agility, and teamwork in ways that were both unpredictable and effective. Every individual knew the stakes. The survival of countless species depended on their actions. Days later, the first fleet of human ships left Earth's orbit, cutting through the void of space with purpose and precision. The vessels gleamed with polished metal, reflecting the distant light of stars. Unlike the alien fleets scattered across the galaxy, these ships moved as a single coordinated force, their crews bound by shared resolve. As they entered deep space, Captain Elena Voss, commander of the flagship Resolute, addressed the crew. "We are leaving home, far from everything familiar," she said. "Out there we will face danger beyond imagination. But remember this, we are humans. We adapt, we survive, and we fight for what is right. Every life in this galaxy is counting on us. We are not just a fleet. We are the hope that they have been waiting for." Her words echoed through the fleet, and a quiet determination settled over every member. They were about to face the unknown, but fear had no place among those who carried the future of the galaxy in their hands. As the human fleet advanced toward the war-torn regions, the first alien fleets took notice. A Krelian patrol vessel, hovering above the broken surface of the planet Zethar, detected an unusual energy signature. "Commander Vorek, something is approaching," the officer reported. "Energy readings unlike anything we've seen before. They are human ships?" Vorek's eyes narrowed. "Humans. I thought they stayed out of this conflict. Why now, and why here?" The patrol vessel's sensors continued to scan as the human fleet drew closer. Their ships were smaller than the alien dreadnoughts, but there were many of them. Each one moved with precision, their formation elegant and coordinated. They are organized. Too organized, said Vorik. And their shields, their weapons. They are not ordinary. This is something new, something dangerous, or something hopeful. Across the galaxy, whispers spread among the alien forces. A new player had arrived, a species unknown to the enemy, with strength and strategy unlike anything seen before. Some feared them, others hoped. But everyone knew one thing: the humans could change the course of the war. On the outskirts of a system under attack by the Void Legion, humans made their first observations of the devastation. Planets burned, cities crumbled, and civilians fled in panic. Human scientists recorded every detail, searching for patterns in the enemy's attacks. Human strategists calculated angles and maneuvers that might turn the tide. Human soldiers prepared for battle, their hearts steady, their minds sharp. Captain Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the chaos below. "This is worse than we imagined," she said softly. "But that only makes our mission more important. If we do nothing, they will all be lost, and we cannot allow that. The first contact would come soon. The human fleet would not strike immediately. They were observers, analysts, and learners first. They needed to understand the enemy, to uncover weaknesses, and to plan carefully. But even in the silence before the storm, their presence alone sent a signal. The galaxy was not alone anymore. Night fell over Earth, but in the darkness of space, a new light burned. It was the light of human courage, human intelligence, and human hope. Across the war-torn galaxy, the first signs of a turning tide began to appear. Even the Void Legion, mysterious and terrifying as they were, seemed to pause. Perhaps it was instinct. Perhaps it was something more. A new force had entered the galaxy. A force that did not despair, a force that did not flee. A force that could think, adapt, and fight. And so as human ships advanced through the stars, the galaxy waited. Waited to see if these newcomers could make a difference. Waited to see if hope could survive amidst endless war. Waited for the first spark that might ignite the fires of victory. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy dared to hope. The human fleet moved silently through the outer edges of the Zethar system, a region scarred by countless battles. Fires glowed on distant planets, and shattered moons drifted through black voids, remnants of wars that had lasted for centuries. Human crews stared out from their ships, feeling both awe and determination. They were strangers to this galaxy, yet they carried the responsibility of hope. On the bridge of the Resolute, Captain Elena Voss studied the holographic display showing the enemy fleets. Ships of the Void Legion glinted with dark energy, their movements precise yet predictable. Humans had studied their behavior from afar, analyzing patterns that alien forces had long failed to exploit. "Target their supply lines," Voss ordered. "We need to disrupt their formation without risking unnecessary lives. Remember, we are here to observe first, but if a chance arises to strike effectively, we take it." Lieutenant Kieran Hale, the young pilot assigned to the Resolute, nodded. "Understood, Captain. Our scouts have already mapped a path through the asteroid belt. Minimal detection risk, maximum efficiency." The human fleet advanced, careful and deliberate. They were aware that the Void Legion could detect ordinary fleets from a distance, but humans had learned to blend speed with stealth. Using advanced cloaking technology, smaller human ships slipped past enemy patrols, monitoring activity and sending back detailed reports. On the planet Iridion, Supreme Commander Vorik of the Krelian Coalition watched the approaching human ships with skepticism. "They come in too quickly," he muttered. "No species moves with such precision without purpose." "Why now? Why us?" Admiral Thalira beside him nodded. "They are a mystery, yes, but perhaps this mystery is the difference we need. Observe carefully. Learn from them. Perhaps humans can give us strategies that we could never imagine." Meanwhile, the human observation teams on smaller scout ships recorded everything. Sensors measured energy outputs, weapon discharge patterns, fleet formations, and even the communications between Void Legion ships. Humans had a unique advantage. Their thinking was unpredictable to the enemy. They did not follow the same instincts as alien species. Their creativity was their weapon. After days of cautious observation, the humans discovered a weakness in the Void Legion's approach. Their attacks, though powerful, were highly synchronized. They relied on precise timing and calculated routes, assuming that other species would react predictably. Humans, however, reacted differently. By introducing randomness into maneuvers and tactics, they could confuse the enemy and gain an advantage. Captain Voss called a meeting with her top officers. "We have identified a way to strike," she explained. "We can intercept a supply convoy heading to the front lines. It's small, lightly protected, but vital to their operations. A successful strike will slow their advance and give the coalition breathing space." The plan was daring. Human ships would split into several groups using stealth and speed to surround the convoy from multiple directions. They would disable the ships without destroying them, capturing valuable data and resources. Every crew member understood the risks, yet none hesitated. When the fleet approached the Void Legion convoy, tension filled the air. The convoy was unaware of the humans' presence. Scouts guided the strike teams into position, each pilot holding their breath. "Now," Voss commanded. In perfect coordination, the human ships sprang into action. Energy nets shot from the lead ships, immobilizing enemy vessels without causing catastrophic damage. Crew members used precision beams to disable engines and communication arrays. The convoy's alarms blared too late. Humans had already executed their plan flawlessly. By the time the Void Legion realized what had happened, the convoy was surrounded. Humans transmitted messages in the universal galactic code. "You are not alone. Help is coming. Cease hostilities or be studied." The alien forces, unfamiliar with human communication styles, hesitated. That hesitation was enough. The convoy was captured intact, and the humans extracted critical intelligence about enemy movements. The human victory sent ripples through the galaxy. Alien leaders who had once doubted humanity began to see the potential. The coalition's morale, long battered by defeats, began to rise. Commander Vorek paced in his quarters. "They act differently, too efficiently. Their methods are inspiring. Perhaps they are what we have been missing." Admiral Thalira agreed. "Their tactics are unorthodox, yes, but they work. And in war, results matter more than tradition. If humans are willing to fight with us, we may have a chance yet." Word of human action spread quickly. On a distant planet under siege, civilians whispered about the mysterious newcomers. "Humans?" they asked. "The ones who strike like ghosts? Perhaps they are our saviors." Hope, fragile yet powerful, began to spread across the galaxy. The next challenge came when a Void Legion patrol detected human activity. Unlike other species, humans did not panic. They adapted. Small strike teams employed decoys, holograms, and rapid maneuvers to confuse the enemy. Battles were won not through brute force, but through intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Lieutenant Kieran Hale, piloting a scout vessel, led a daring maneuver through an asteroid field. Enemy ships followed blindly, crashing into rocks and debris. "Captain, they're disoriented," Hale reported. "We can push them back without a single loss." Voss nodded. "Good work, Lieutenant. This is how humans fight, not by overpowering, but by outthinking the enemy." Despite their successes, humans were not invincible. They faced losses, setbacks, and moments of fear. Crew members mourned those who fell, but their resolve never wavered. Every challenge became a lesson, every failure a step toward greater strategy. Meanwhile, human diplomats began making contact with alien coalition leaders. Humans were not just warriors. They were negotiators, engineers, and teachers. They shared technology to repair damaged fleets, advised on tactics, and trained alien crews in new strategies. The coalition, initially skeptical, began to embrace this partnership. On the battlefield, humans and aliens started fighting side by side. Zenari frigates coordinated with human strike teams. Krelian dreadnoughts provided heavy fire while humans maneuvered swiftly around the enemy. Slowly, the tide of small battles began to shift. Where once the Void Legion struck fear, now they encountered resistance, clever traps, and unexpected tactics. In one daring raid, humans infiltrated a Void Legion supply station. Using a combination of stealth suits, advanced sensors, and improvisation, they disabled the station's power core and retrieved vital intelligence. The operation was risky, but the outcome was undeniable. Humans had proven they could strike at the heart of the enemy, where no one else dared. Alien allies observed these operations with awe. "They do not fight like us," Thalira noted. "They see opportunities where we see obstacles. They act boldly yet carefully, and they inspire those around them to do the same." Even the Void Legion seemed to take notice. In communications intercepted by human analysts, strange symbols and unfamiliar language patterns appeared. It was as if the enemy was trying to understand humans, attempting to adapt to their unpredictable behavior. This recognition, subtle but significant, marked the beginning of a shift in the war. As Part 2 drew to a close, humans had accomplished something that no other species could. They had entered a galaxy in despair, struck fear and confusion into the enemy, and inspired allies to fight with renewed courage. The coalition, once fragmented and hopeless, began to see humans as more than mere soldiers. They were a symbol of hope, a spark that could ignite a galaxy-wide resurgence. Captain Voss, standing on the bridge of the Resolute, gazed out at the stars. "We are just beginning," she said softly. "The galaxy is vast, and the challenges are greater than we can imagine. But for the first time in centuries, hope is not lost. We are here, and we will not fail." The human fleet pressed onward, prepared for the battles to come. First contact had been made. Trust had begun to form. And in the darkness of a galaxy torn by endless war, a new light, human ingenuity, courage, and hope, burned brightly. The stage was set. The humans were no longer observers. They were participants. They were catalysts. They were the beginning of a new era in a galaxy desperate for heroes. And somewhere deep in the shadows of space, the Void Legion sensed the change. A force they had not anticipated had arrived, and the war that had seemed endless was about to become something entirely different. The galaxy had started to notice humans. Reports of their victories, unusual tactics, and daring operations spread quickly. For the first time, alien forces began to believe that perhaps the Void Legion could be stopped. And for the first time, humans themselves realized the scope of the challenge they faced. Captain Elena Voss and her crew on the Resolute gathered for a briefing. The room hummed with quiet energy. Holographic projections of the Void Legion's fleet flickered in the center, showing formations, supply routes, and patterns of attack. "Analysis shows that the Void Legion is not invincible," Voss said. "They rely heavily on predictable movements, coordinated strikes, and energy fields that require time to charge. If we act carefully, we can disrupt their operations and protect more planets." Lieutenant Kieran Hale leaned forward. "We've also detected irregularities in their communications. It seems they are trying to adapt to us, studying our tactics. We need to stay unpredictable." "Exactly," Voss replied. "Our advantage is our creativity and adaptability. The enemy expects the predictable. We give them chaos. That is where we strike." The first mission to test these observations came quickly. Intelligence showed a Void Legion supply convoy moving through the nebula expanse. This convoy was critical. It carried resources and reinforcements for the front lines. Humans saw an opportunity to not just disrupt, but also learn more about their enemy. A squadron of human strike ships prepared for departure. Pilots adjusted their suits. Engineers ran final checks on weapons and sensors, and scientists reviewed enemy patterns. Every member knew the stakes. Capturing the convoy intact would provide critical intelligence, but the mission was risky. As the ships entered the nebula, their cloaking systems blended them into the swirling clouds of gas and debris. The Void Legion's patrols moved past them, unaware of the humans hiding in plain sight. Hale guided the squadron with precise maneuvers, weaving through asteroids and energy storms. "Remember," Voss's voice echoed over the comms, "we do not destroy unless necessary. Our goal is to learn, observe, and strike only when it matters." The squadron approached the convoy. Human engineers had developed energy nets capable of immobilizing the enemy ships without causing structural damage. Within minutes, the nets launched, wrapping around engines and shields, freezing the vessels in place. The humans boarded the lead ship, moving with stealth and efficiency. They collected data cores, accessed the enemy's tactical logs, and even discovered a new type of energy weapon under development. Every discovery brought new understanding. Every detail was a step toward victory, but the mission was not without danger. A Void Legion patrol detected the intrusion, forcing the humans to improvise. Using decoys, holograms, and rapid maneuvers, they evaded capture. The squadron returned to the Resolute with the convoy intact and critical intelligence secured. The alien coalition, observing these operations from a distance, began to change their perception of humans. Commander Vorek of the Krelian fleet admitted in a private discussion, "They do not fight like we do. They study, adapt, and strike with precision. Their methods are extraordinary. Admiral Thalira nodded. They are more than soldiers. They are thinkers, engineers, and tacticians. We must learn from them. They may be the key to survival. Humans were not just providing military strength. They were teaching new ways of thinking. Alien fleets began adopting human-inspired strategies, unpredictability, speed, and clever use of terrain. Slowly, the coalition's operations improved and morale began to rise. Where defeat had been routine, victory now seemed possible. Meanwhile, the humans learned more about the Void Legion. They discovered that the enemy's energy fields, though powerful, required precise calibration. They learned the patterns in which enemy ships communicated, allowing them to anticipate attacks before they happened. Every battle became a classroom, every skirmish a lesson. On a remote planet being used as a supply base by the Void Legion, humans launched another daring mission. A small strike team, led by Captain Voss, infiltrated the base under the cover of darkness. Using stealth suits and adaptive camouflage, they navigated through corridors, avoiding patrols and automated defenses. Inside, they found advanced technology, energy cores, weapon blueprints, and strange devices that manipulated space and gravity. Scientists quickly recorded everything, knowing that this information could change the course of the war. But the mission hit a snag when a Void Legion patrol unexpectedly returned. A firefight erupted in the narrow hallways. Humans moved with precision, using calculated bursts of energy and careful maneuvers to neutralize threats without causing catastrophic damage. Their training, teamwork, and adaptability proved unmatched. After escaping with the intelligence, the team returned to the Resolute. The data they collected revealed a critical insight. The Void Legion had a central command system, controlling fleet movements and energy distribution. If humans could disrupt this system, they could weaken the enemy across multiple fronts simultaneously. Captain Voss gathered her officers. "This changes everything," she said. "We are no longer just reacting. We can plan. We can strike at the heart of their operations. But we must be careful. The enemy will adapt. And they are powerful. We cannot underestimate them." The human approach to warfare was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. While other species relied on brute force or rigid strategies, humans combined intellect, observation, and daring creativity. They were fearless in the face of danger, but careful in their actions. Their victories inspired allies and unsettled enemies. Even civilians began to notice the change. Messages of hope spread across the galaxy. Families trapped on war-torn planets whispered about the humans who appeared out of nowhere, striking the Void Legion with clever tactics, protecting lives, and turning despair into hope. "Humans are different," a Zenari officer remarked. "They do not fight for glory or conquest. They fight to protect, to learn, and to outthink the enemy. That is why they succeed." As humans continued their missions, they faced losses too. Some crew members fell during dangerous operations and ships were damaged beyond repair. Yet every loss became a lesson, every challenge a stepping stone. The human fleet adapted quickly, using each experience to improve their tactics. One night, as Captain Voss observed the stars from the Resolute's bridge, she reflected on the journey so far. "We are far from home," she thought. "The galaxy is vast and the Void Legion is relentless. But every victory, every lesson learned brings us closer to turning the tide. We are not invincible, but we are humans, and that is enough to make a difference." Humans had discovered that courage and intelligence could overcome even the most terrifying enemy. By combining strategy, technology, and ingenuity, they could challenge a force that had dominated the galaxy for centuries. The coalition began to take notice. Alien commanders sought advice from human officers, learning new strategies and tactics. Fleets that once moved cautiously now acted with boldness and precision. Where hope had faded, optimism grew. And somewhere, deep within the Void Legion's fleet, the enemy sensed the change. Their movements became cautious. Communication shifted. It was as if they recognized a new and dangerous factor: humans. A species that did not fight like the others. A species that could think, adapt, and strike with intelligence. The humans continued their mission. Each operation revealed more about the enemy and brought new opportunities to protect the galaxy. Small victories became large ones, and the coalition's morale strengthened with every success. Captain Voss addressed her fleet one evening. "We have learned much, and the challenges ahead are greater than ever. But remember this: Our strength is not just in our ships or weapons. Our strength is in our minds, our courage, and our unity. The galaxy is counting on us, and we will not fail." With that, the human fleet pressed onward, ready for the missions ahead. They had uncovered secrets, disrupted enemy operations, and inspired allies. And in doing so, they had proven that even in the darkest times, intelligence, creativity, and bravery could shine brighter than any star. The galaxy was beginning to change. With humans leading the way, hope was no longer a fragile dream. It was becoming a reality. And far in the shadows, the Void Legion adjusted its strategy, sensing that the humans were no ordinary species. They had arrived not just to fight, but to teach the galaxy a new way to survive, a way that no one had anticipated. The galaxy had begun to believe. For the first time in centuries, hope returned to systems long lost to war. Human ingenuity had taught alien fleets new ways to fight, new ways to move, and new ways to survive. What was once a hopeless struggle had begun to shift. The Void Legion, terrifying and relentless, was facing a new kind of resistance, a resistance inspired, led, and often commanded by humans. Captain Elena Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, surrounded by officers from both human and alien fleets. Holographic maps displayed the positions of Void Legion forces, showing supply lines, fleets, and planetary targets. The human-led coalition had planned a massive operation, the largest since the arrival of humans in the galaxy. "This is our moment," Voss said, her voice calm but firm. "The Void Legion thinks it controls the galaxy. They think nothing can stop them. But they have never faced what we can do when we act together. Today we strike not as humans or aliens, but as a united force." Admiral Thalira of the Zanari fleet nodded beside her. "The Coalition trusts your strategy, Captain. If this works, we can reclaim multiple systems and turn the tide of this war." The plan was complex. Several fleets would coordinate their attacks on key enemy positions. Humans would lead the strike teams, using rapid maneuvers and unconventional tactics to confuse the enemy. Alien fleets would provide heavy firepower and support, following human guidance to exploit weaknesses the Void Legion had never encountered. As fleets prepared for departure, tension filled the command room. Every species knew the risks. Failure could mean the destruction of planets, fleets, and entire civilizations. Success, however, could mark the beginning of the end for the Void Legion. The first phase of the operation began near the planet Lumeria, a strategic hub recently captured by the enemy. Human scouts had identified weak points in the enemy's orbital defenses. Small strike teams, led by humans, slipped through gaps in patrols, using stealth technology to remain unseen. Lieutenant Kieran Hale piloted one of the lead scout ships, weaving through debris and asteroid fields. "All clear," he reported. "Enemy patrols are not detecting us." "Good," Voss replied. "Move into position. Wait for my signal." At the same time, alien fleets prepared to engage. Krelian dreadnoughts powered up their main cannons. Zanari frigates formed precise formations, and other allied ships readied their weapons. The coalition had never been this united before. When the human strike teams reached their positions, Voss gave the signal. Energy beams shot from human ships, targeting enemy shields and engines with precision. Alien fleets followed, unleashing coordinated attacks that overwhelmed the Void Legion defenses. The enemy was caught off guard. Their coordinated patterns were disrupted and confusion spread across their ranks. In the chaos, human pilots performed daring maneuvers, flanking enemy ships from unexpected directions. Their speed and unpredictability left the Void Legion struggling to respond. Human ingenuity shone in every move. Decoys, holographic projections, and synchronized strikes confused and slowed the enemy. On the surface of Lumeria, ground forces prepared to reclaim cities. Humans worked with alien soldiers to neutralize enemy troops, protect civilians, and secure vital infrastructure. Every action was calculated, every step carefully executed. Humans led by example, showing courage, strategy, and compassion. Meanwhile, the Void Legion attempted to regroup. Their commanders sent messages and orders, but humans had already intercepted and decoded them. Using the intelligence gathered in previous missions, humans anticipated enemy maneuvers, countering attacks before they even began. Lieutenant Hale reported a critical development. "Captain, enemy reinforcements are approaching from the southern quadrant. They're trying to flank us." Voss considered the situation. "Good. That means we have them exactly where we want. All strike teams split into 3 units, flank from above and below. Draw them into the asteroid field. Use their momentum against them. The operation required perfect timing. Every ship had to act in coordination. Every officer had to trust the plan. As the fleets moved, the Void Legion reinforcements fell into the trap. Asteroids and debris became weapons, as enemy ships crashed or became entangled while humans and allies struck from multiple angles. By the end of the first day, Lumeria was largely under Coalition control. Civilian areas were protected, enemy losses were significant, and the human-led strike teams had captured additional intelligence. For the first time, a strategic planetary hub had been taken from the Void Legion not by overwhelming force alone, but by strategy, ingenuity, and coordination. Back on the Resolute, Captain Voss addressed her fleet. This is only the beginning. The Void Legion is powerful but not invincible. Every planet we reclaim, every fleet we save, strengthens the Coalition and weakens the enemy. Remember why we fight, remember who we are, and remember what we can accomplish together. News of the operation spread quickly. Across the galaxy, species that had long been defeated or oppressed felt renewed strength. Ships once grounded for lack of supplies were repaired and sent into battle. Civilians who had feared the Void Legion now dared to hope. The human presence had ignited a spark of unity that had never existed before. Even within the Void Legion, change was noticeable. Their commanders, unaccustomed to resistance of this nature, began altering strategies. Unpredictable human tactics had created confusion and frustration. Their energy fields, once impenetrable, were being exploited. Their supply lines were compromised. Humans and aliens continued to press the advantage. Coordinated strikes targeted multiple enemy strongholds, disrupting operations on a massive scale. Human pilots led daring missions to disable weapon systems, capture resources, and protect planets under siege. Alien fleets, inspired by human strategies, moved with precision and efficiency previously unseen. In one particularly daring mission, a squadron led by Lieutenant Hale infiltrated a heavily guarded enemy space station. Using stealth, intelligence, and quick thinking, they disabled the station's energy core, preventing a catastrophic attack on a nearby colony. The operation was risky, but it succeeded flawlessly, saving millions of lives. Captain Voss observed these successes with a mix of pride and caution. "We are changing the tide of war," she said to her officers. "But the Void Legion will adapt. They will not be defeated easily. We must stay ahead, continue to innovate, and protect those who cannot defend themselves." The Coalition's confidence grew with every victory. Alien leaders who had once doubted humanity now looked to humans for guidance. Strategies were shared, tactics were taught, and humans and aliens began to operate as a single cohesive force. As Part 4 drew on, the human-led coalition launched a final coordinated assault on the Void Legion's supply hub in the Delta Expanse. Hundreds of ships participated in the battle, with humans leading strike teams and alien fleets providing support. Every maneuver, every calculation, and every action was the result of careful planning and teamwork. The battle was intense. Void Legion forces fought fiercely, but they were no longer unchallenged. Humans anticipated attacks, exploited weaknesses, and led their allies in clever maneuvers. Enemy ships were captured or disabled, energy cores destroyed, and supply lines severed. By the end of the engagement, the Coalition had achieved a decisive victory. On the bridge of the Resolute, Voss allowed herself a rare moment of satisfaction. "This is what we came to do," she said softly. "We are turning the tide. The galaxy has hope again." The victory at Delta Expanse marked a turning point. Systems previously under enemy control began to reclaim autonomy. Rebel groups gained strength. Civilian populations organized defenses, and fleets once paralyzed by fear now moved with confidence. The humans had done more than fight. They had inspired. Their intelligence, creativity, and courage had not only won battles but had also rekindled the spirit of the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Void Legion faced a united front, capable of challenging its dominance. Captain Voss addressed the Coalition. "This is only the beginning," she said. "The enemy is strong, but we are stronger together. Every species, every fleet, every individual contributes to our mission. Today we have shown that even the darkest force can be challenged when we act with courage, strategy, and unity. The galaxy can survive, and it will." As the fleets moved to regroup and repair, the stars themselves seemed brighter. Hope once lost now shone across planets, systems, and fleets. Humans had become more than a fleet. They had become a symbol, a guiding light for a galaxy long trapped in darkness. And in the shadows, the Void Legion began to realize that the war they thought would never end was changing. A new force had entered the galaxy, a force of intelligence, bravery, and unpredictability. A force that had taught the Coalition to fight in ways they never imagined. A force that would not stop until the tide was turned. The battle was far from over, but for the first time the galaxy had a reason to believe. Humans were leading the way, showing that even against overwhelming odds, unity, courage, and strategy could prevail. The war was shifting, and the galaxy's last hope was no longer a question. It was a reality.